get up and put the lampshade on your head and go dancing around, you may have to get rid of your inhibitions. And in South Africa, they may do that similar to here with a little alcohol, or unfortunately, in this country, a little white powder sometimes, you say. Or with you, one gin and tonic, and that's the end for you, right? We heard about that. Yeah, Rita's deadly after a gin and tonic. But you see, inhibition your client understands, and that's the important thing. We have to talk in the language of the client. And they say, yeah, I do feel a little inhibited. Inhibited. Now, what is another word for inhibition? Huh? You win the cigar. Fear. That's simply a person is telling you, I'm inhibited, but that really means I'm frightened. And remember, we said it all goes back to fear. So get rid of fear, and you get rid of your inhibitions. And that's the end of it. Now, historically, there are three ways you can achieve the hypnotic state. Let's talk about those three ways for a moment. Historically, the primary way is what we've been there's three ways of bypassing the critical factor of the conscious mind. Let's put it that way. The first way historically in our country is trying to bore it out of the way through repeated suggestions of rest, relaxation, and sleep, which, because there's no content to it, there's really no meaning to it after you say it over and over again. The critical factor hopefully says, I just can't take this anymore. This person's driving me nuts. Let me out of here. And hopefully that'll happen. Unfortunately, it happens much too rarely. The second way, which is a method that has been totally overlooked by your medical, psychological, and most hypnotists, and that is to shock the critical factor out of the way. Now, I'm not talking about we're going to put a plug into the wall and bare a couple of wires and let them have it, although I imagine that could be a useful induction under certain circumstances, you say. But no, to shock the nervous system. Now, we're not talking about anything violent or unprofessional. Basically, it's simply an unexpected movement of a portion of their body, or you may not even have to touch them. It can be a shocking or startling command. With a shocking motion of your body, sleep, and the person drops into trance. Now, what are we talking about when we say shocking it? And this gets at why instant inductions and rapid inductions work so well. And let's make a little drawing here for you to show what I mean. Let's say that this here, below that line going down this way, is hypnosis. Let's say anything above this line is critical factor bypass for purpose of this demonstration. Normally, and let's say here is our normal level of conscious awareness, right here. Normally, the hypnotic inductions that most people do try to get these people through suggestions of rest and relaxation somewhere down into, and let's say down here, below here is somnambulism. So through progressive relaxation or fixation inductions, maybe the people will get down into this area. Maybe, if they're lucky, the critical factor gets bored out of the way. But usually, that's not the way it works. On the other hand, using an unexpected shock of some type, we'll show you the different types, professionally shocking. When you shock the person, the energy level of the nervous system peaks. It goes right up there, very quickly. Now, it's only going to, and when it's above this line, you have critical factor bypass. The problem is, it's only going to stay above that line anywhere from 1/2 to 3/4 of a second. That's it. So in that point, you must fire one word into that subconscious mind that it can't misunderstand. And remember, we already told them if we use the word sleep, we're not talking a natural sleep, but a deep relaxation of the nervous system. So the only word we can figure that we could say that can transmit that information in 1/2 to 3/4 of a second is the word sleep. You guys come up with another word that we can use, we'll be happy to get rid of it. So you fire in the word sleep, and they drop like a rock, usually down to this level. They usually will drop right down into the somnambulistic state. Worst case scenario, they're going to drop down to here, and a small deepening technique will take you down to here. They're that effective, they're that powerful, and they work tremendously easy. So shocking the nervous system, or a combination of both of them. You can start out with a relaxation induction, and if that's not working, you can go ahead and then use a shock technique, and we'll demonstrate this also. Now, the most important thing that you have to remember, because these are so easy to do, I mean, you really have to memorize a lot of words with these inductions. How many words do you have to memorize? 1. Even I can do that. That's why they're so easy. Of course, we're going to show you another one today that is probably one you're going to like an awful lot and use a lot in your office, which requires learning a few words, and we'll give you a handout with that one typed out for you, so you can have that when the class is over. And you folks at home also have this induction when you bought the tape. Now, so it's as simple as shocking the critical factor out of the way. Now, when you do that, when you shock it out of the way, the biggest problem that the new hypnotist has is they go like this. Sleep. And the person goes, and then they go. Or, if it's the first time, they'll go, they went into hypnosis, I can't believe this. But they don't say anything. And because the individual, it happens so fast, they don't even know they're in hypnosis, they don't have a clue what's going on, they just open their eyes and say, what was that all about? Because you violated the primary covenant of these type of inductions. And the primary covenant is, once you do it, you must keep your mouth moving. You must keep talking. I don't even care what it is. You've got to keep talking. And in that talk, you have to say a couple of things. 1, you're doing great, because they don't have a clue how well they're doing. And 2, keep yourself relaxing in any way you want to say that. All right, sleep. Now, as I rotate your head, you're doing great. Let yourself relax much more deeper. The deeper you go, the better you feel. Oh, I got to get milk on the way home from the office today. Whatever. Just keep talking. Otherwise, they'll pop out every single time. And this usually happens to too high of a percentage of the people the first time you did this. First time I ever did this, I did that. I was so excited, so thrilled, that I just went, whoa. And the young man that I did it on just opened his eyes and said, what was that all about? And I says, oh, I forgot to keep talking. So you got to get that drilled into your cranial passages, into the deepest recesses of what's between your ears. Keep talking. And you won't have a problem at all with these kind of inductions. Unless, what's the only thing that can cause these inductions not to work? Let's say the guy doesn't, or the gal, or whoever the subject is, has no fear, no hang-ups. You don't want to get to the point that you think you're Superwoman or Superman or something on that order. Because like when I'm out practicing these inductions, and I like to practice them all the time, is you get to feel like you can hypnotize everybody. So I'll do it in malls or in shoppings or grocery stores or whatever, and sometimes you just run up to somebody who don't want to be hypnotized. And maybe it's the husband. The wife will be pushing him up there. Come on, honey, you're good at this. And the guy's embarrassed. It's in public. He doesn't want to go into hypnosis. So even if he's a good subject, they're not going to drop into trance. That's the only thing that can cause this not to happen. And it's very easy other than that. Any questions up to this point? Okay. Let's get into more of the, what am I going to use in my